All right, I'm finally 10 games in, and I'm 10 and 0, so I'm thinking that I might actually put this to all Madden, even though I'll probably end up losing the next 7 games because I'm winning the games, but it's not as if they're easy wins. Let's look at the last 5 games here on my schedule here. Some of them were pretty well handled. Uh, Packers here handled that one, won by 10. Dominated the Chargers 44 to 15. Dolphins, they just I kept running up the score because they kept trying to fight back. After this Bears game, that's where I was like, you know what? I'm probably gonna have to put it on all Madden here. And then I took on the Jets, and this was just back and forth all game. And it came down to who had the ball last with enough time to do something. And I was down 38 to 35 with like 27 seconds left on the clock. Threw a pass, called a timeout, threw a pass, went out of bounds, and then threw like a 25, 30-yard pass, splitting the safety and corner with Marvin Harrison getting a touchdown with about 7 seconds left in the game. And then the Jets took a couple of shots, didn't make the catch, and that's how that game just ended. So that one I was like, oh man, I am dominating some games on All Pro, but I'm barely squeaking out other ones. And now I'm probably gonna switch to All Madden and see how that goes. I got a bye week, and then I'll take on the Seahawks in Seattle, putting it to All Madden. And, I'm kind of debating it. Like, should I just finish out the season? And I was like, yeah, the way it looks, I'll finish undefeated in my first season. So I'm thinking, you know what, I'll put it to all Madden just to at least practice with it with a team that's not top notch. Because I don't want to say it's easy, but it kind of is. The offense doing very well. Defensively, I say I'm doing all right. I feel a little more comfortable, but it's still not. I wouldn't say I'm dominating, but sometimes when I come over here and I look at the stats, it shows otherwise. So let's take a look here. Since the first 5 games, I only threw one more interception, but then I've thrown a bunch more touchdowns. Like I've really gotten the pass game going a little bit better, but it's still only averaging 235 yards a game, but it's jumped up drastically. I feel a lot more comfortable, even though getting sacked 35 times. I'm pretty sure I got a bunch of fumbles. Long of 63. It doesn't show fumbles here. You're going to have to look at the rushing. But running the ball, doing that still very well. Connor with a 7.5 yard average. It's because when you spread them out and you're throwing, and they only want to put 5 guys in the box, sometimes they put 4 guys. Because that linebacker that sometimes in the middle in a dime package, he'll go over and play one side of the field to the other for some reason. So there's kind of like 4 guys right there in the middle. It's just their defensive line. So you can just gash him for big yards. As you can see, his longest is only 22, but he's a 7.5 yard average because I'm generally getting that many yards each carry. And when Benson comes in, he does too. Now and then, everybody else running, they have at least a 7 yard average. Not that they're getting many carries, but again, when I'm doing a little trick play of some kind or just scrambling, the running game is working very well. Very good average. Ever since the first 5 games, Connor hasn't fumbled in. Decent yards after contact. And that's another thing. I might have be able to get a longer rush, but when I'm running with these guys, I aim to mainly for their corner, especially if they're in a nickel or dime. I'm trying to beat up on their corners, just and their safeties to just run them over, to just make it easier for my receivers. Kind of like you hit my receivers, well, I hit your guys, right? And kind of wear them out, so it makes it easier on my receivers. Um, I didn't know Williams had 13 broken tackles. But anyway, let's look at the receiving. I guess the receiving has changed a bit. It was pretty even, but now Dell having 40 catches now. Harrison with 34. So Dell all of a sudden he's taken over, getting more catches and more yards. Mitchie has the best average. It's kind of like the only time I throw to him is on certain routes, on certain plays that he just gets open for big plays. And as you can see, the average, they're all averaging over 20 yards a catch, which is pretty crazy. This is like the 1990s Oilers, where the receivers would have over a 20-yard average per catch. Strangely enough, Williams is the only one that doesn't. Uh, and that's because a lot of times I'm putting him on a quick in or a drag because he got a lot of speed. So I for a short yardage situation, throw it to him real quick, and he can run for the first down. Sometimes it's like a little screen or something. That's why I think half of his yards are rack yards, while everybody else, they have less than half of their yards are rack because they are catching it pretty deep every time. But it's still, three guys pretty close with catches. These guys are running off with all the yards though. Mitchie and Connor act as I guess the fourth. But you see it's not getting spread around as much as it was, but it's whoever's open. So if it's Dell always getting open, throwing it to him. If it's somebody else, they'll get the ball. But we'll see how it ends up at the end of the season here. Touchdowns, Harrison getting the most, followed by Williams. Dell, even though he has the most catches, he's not always getting the touchdowns. Or Mitchie. It might be because these guys are a bit taller and they getting more red zone targets. I don't know if that's how I'm actually doing it, not paying attention. Still getting sacked a lot. Paris Johnson needs to develop, but it sucks that he's letting up 8 sacks. Defensively, I wish I showed the pancakes. Jelani here was out for 4.5 games, so he would probably be higher up. But it's good to have him back. He's already making plays as he came back. But my strong safety and my free safety are leading in tackles right now. Tackles for loss, Jordan Davis has been playing pretty well, being my nose there for the most part, even getting some sacks. And other people have been just randomly getting sacks. It's more of a getting sacks and pressure by committee. There isn't one guy necessarily dominating. It's just everybody's going after it. More of like a scheme, I guess, more than it's their talent. For the most part anyway. Interceptions improved here. Bunton has gotten 2, Mitchell's gotten 2. So now Collins isn't leading the team with interceptions. Got actually quite a bit more in the last 5 games. Battles leading with the deflections, forced fumbles. Jelani, even though he's missed 4.5 games, he's leading with the forced fumbles. Most of the fumbles I'm forcing, I'm getting back. I think I had a few blocks. Yeah, 4 blocks. Some of these are extra points, so that's pretty cool, getting some blocks. I think it's like 2 field goals and 2 extra points have been blocked. I did get a safety. Mac Wilson got a safety. No defensive touchdowns, though. Kicking, still 100% on the kicking with a 57-yard long. But again, Kicking is not too difficult with the old kick meter, and he has like a 98 kick power, so I can kick. Not worried about it, especially in a dome. Uh, Punting, I mean, it's punting. One inside the 20, one touchback. That one inside the 20, I did get a coffin corner right down at the 1 yard line. That touchback, it was right there. So close to being at the one, but it hit the inside of the that little pylon there. Got the touchback instead. Kick returning. Uh, Almost returned a touchdown. You can see 93 yard long. It was actually this last game against the Packers. They just scored to take the lead, and I was worried about how much time was left. I think it was right before half. If I had enough time to get a touchdown, and I run it, and I think I'm gonna get it. There's three Packers like closing in, one coming from behind, one coming from the left and right, kind of closing in, and I was like, I'm gonna get it, and they just got me right before the touchdown. So my kick returning has improved a bit. The average is up. Got the one big return there. You can see even Williams has a 41-yard average. It's weird. I think I'm always returning it with Dell, but apparently Williams is getting more returns. And punt return, I haven't had many. I haven't really forced them to punt. I'm usually either hold them to a field goal or they get a touchdown. Other than, the turnover. If you force a fumble or get an interception, sometimes I get that. But usually I'm letting up some points if I don't get a turnover. Never really hold them to a punt. I'm not trying to be a bend don't break defense, but that's just how it is. So those are the individual stats. Let's look at team stats here. I think I can look at the awards and stuff too. But total offense here, Ravens still leading the way. I am third total offense, so that's pretty cool. Moving up in the world. Passing, looks like third, fourth, fifth, sixth. I'm sixth in passing. The Chiefs are number one. They got about 400 yards more than I do. Rushing, Lions are down at the bottom. Well, I want to see who's worse in passing. The Titans. But who's leading in rushing? Well, I'm third. And I'm a run and shoot. I feel kind of like the Bills. They did a run and shoot, but whenever they could, they run it with Thurman Thomas. I think there was a year where they actually led the league in rushing yards per game, rushing yards. So that's pretty cool. Points per game. Oh, finally surpassed the Chiefs. And the Titans at the bottom. Passing touchdowns, Chiefs winning that. I don't think I get a lot of passing touchdowns because once I get inside the 20, it's like I might get a short pass, but I'll try running it even with spreading it out. If you don't defend the run, I'll run. So I probably have a lot of rushing touchdowns. Yep, leading the league with 26 rushing touchdowns. First downs, second in the league to the Ravens. Yeah, my offense has been pretty productive. Really enjoying the run and shoot. Really fun. I am getting sacked a lot. I don't quite like that aspect because I used to just run a run heavy, play action kind of offense, and I protect the quarterback. Did do some runs with like a read option or something like that, and just slide or get out of bounds, and just try to avoid my quarterback getting touched at all. So it's a lot of quick passing. But with this, and not having like the best offensive line, I'm getting sacked a lot, and I don't quite like that. Another reason why I picked a big quarterback. Not that it would really matter in simulated football, but trying to make it a little more realistic. All right, so let's look at defense here. Steelers are leading the league with the Lions with the fewest pass yards. Browns, Bengals most, and I'm there at third, allowing a lot of passing yards. But I'm leading the league with 404 rushing yards allowed. It's because when you can pass, You don't need to run, I guess, right? Patriots allowing the most. That's crazy. Points allowed. Steelers at the bottom. What is the steel curtain back or what? Patriots with the most. I'm not quite sure where I am. I'm at 205. So I'm kind of in the middle between 160 and 150, right in the middle of the pack there. Sacks. Cards. I have 23 and I have 7 games to go. If I can just get a sack a game, I can meet the goal of 30 sacks. So that's good. Still in the top 10 in the league in that. Fumbles, number 1, tied with the Cowboys in fumbles. And number 1 in interceptions. So that's where it's at. I'm giving up a lot of passing yards, giving up a lot of points, but getting the turnovers. So that's what I kind of wanted to do anyway. I wasn't trying to aim for a bend don't break, but I did want to do more of a banjo kind of system where it's a bend don't break, trying to get the turnovers. It seems to be working. A little frustrating though. Vastly improved my third downs. Now leading the league with 64% on third down, while the Titans are at the bottom. And I'm still 100% on fourth down, 5 for 5, and only gone for that 1 2-pointer. So who's the worst here? The Rams, 28% on fourth down. The Giants have missed 2 2-pointers. Looks like the Seahawks have went for it 5 times, only made 2 of them. Red zone efficiency. I might need to improve this one. Sometimes I'm settling for field goals, and that drops your percentage. Even though you scored, it still goes against you here. But surprisingly, the Broncos are the most efficient in the red zone. Close with the Rams and Titans here. At the bottom, Chargers at 36%. So we'll start here, see where I'm at. I'm at 62%. Not too bad, but I want to be up here at the top. So I gotta work on that. The red zone, still top, tied with the Browns at the best red zone defense. Because like I said, you get down the field, but then sometimes I get a fumble. It's like a strip sack, or I get an interception. And that usually happens in the red zone. So I'm allowing a lot of passing yards. And I'm pretty good against the run in the red zone. So they end up trying to throw. They get a strip sack, throw an interception, or I hold them to field goals. Which is strange, because it says only 2 field goals. So maybe I knock them out of the red zone when they make their field goals. And I have been blocking some, so maybe that helps there. So doing all right in the red zone on offense and defense. And yeah, this always happens when you're playing the games. You don't get a lot of penalties. But who's leading the league? The Patriots with 58. I guess not having Belichick there for the discipline really has done something. Tied with the Panthers with a 10 turnover differential. Have 8 giveaways and 18 takeaways. 3 interceptions and 5 fumbles lost. That's another reason why I don't like getting sacked. It is not so much about injury and losing yards, but a lot of times when you get sacked, it's a strip sack. You're not always guaranteed to recover that. The Giants at negative 12 on the turnover differential. What is their record? 3-7. That would explain it. Right back to the offense. But now we can actually look at in-season awards. I know weekly awards are not a big deal, but I think there was a week where I actually won one here. Yeah, right here. 18 of 21, 270 yards, 4 touchdowns, got sacked twice. I think that's my only one. Yearly awards. MVP, Mahomes. Makes sense, right? Coach of the Year, June Jones. Obviously, I just put him because he's a run and shoot guru. So that's that. Let's look at the NFC. Wow, Connor, Offensive Player of the Year. It's probably because he has a lot of rushing touchdowns. Defensive Player of the Year, Hutchinson. I have Mitchell, who could do that, so that's interesting. Marvin Harrison's close too. Offensive Rookie, Marvin Harrison Jr., awesome. Beating out a quarterback. Defensive Rookie, wow, Mitchell. That's pretty cool. Best quarterback, Matthew Stafford. Bryce Young, I guess he's turned things around from his rookie year. I'm not even on here. That's kind of strange. I'll have to compare the stats later on. Best running back, Connor. Best wide receiver, Marvin Harrison is top 3. And touchdowns has a lot to do with it because there's more catches and yards by Dell, but he has more touchdowns. Offensive lineman, he's a backup center who never plays. I think in this last game he played because the guy got hurt for a little bit. He came in, and he's number 4. So that's a bit strange. But whatever. Defensive line, not there. Best linebacker, I got nobody. Best DB, Quinyon Mitchell. That's pretty cool. Hopefully he'll be like a superstar. I actually don't even know what his development trade is. But hopefully he becomes something after this season here. Best kicker, doing pretty good kicking. So it makes sense that I'm 3rd there. But that is that for that. I don't think I broke any records. But I don't think there's anything different shown here that I haven't gone over. Top on the division. Looks like a tough division. Seattle, San Fran, and the Rams are all above 500 competing. And if I wasn't undefeated, they would have a chance. Mahomes, 26 touchdowns. So he has 10 more touchdowns than I do. So that explains why I'm not even on the board. I'm not throwing a lot of touchdowns. The quarterback being a team player there. Crosby's leading the league in the sacks. Jonathan Jones from the Patriots has 4 picks. Derrick Henry has the most rushing yards. Connor, I have 2nd apparently. Tank Dell is 3rd in the league in receiving yards, but Cooper Kupp there leading the league. Tackles, speed from the Colts, and I don't think I would end up beating that there. So that is that for that. I think that's about everything. I think I might show how I've spent some points. I spent most of it here because I wanted to be able to trade, especially since I got draft picks at the end of the season. I don't want to draft all the players that I got. I think I got like 3 second rounders, 2 first rounders. I think I might trade back or trade for players with those. We'll see how that goes, and that's going to help in the trading. And now I'm getting the points because I want to get down after school tutoring so I can actually start focusing on 3 more players during the weekly training to hopefully, get some people to develop a better developmental trait. Move from normal to star or star to superstar or even to X Factor. Haven't spent any points for the offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator, but I did hire these ones because I liked the power running and a quarterback guru. And with these open field moves, you can apply them to the receivers. So I thought yes, I like this. My receivers will be better after the catch. I can do better power running with my running back here, or as I put it here, full backs here. And of course, quarterback guru. I was thinking of going down here for throwing to pressure, but then I was like, the accuracy. I got plenty of time to think about that. And I picked the defensive side because defensive back guru, right? Work on those defensive backs. Has second level, and I think this skill right here, your safeties. Nice, I thought it was right there. Maybe it's right here. Huh. I thought there was a trait here to increase speed. Maybe it was over here. Boost pursuit. Huh. I thought there was one here to boost the speed for your defensive backs, but apparently I don't know what I'm talking about. Oh, right here, the final one here, boost speed for linebackers, safeties, and cornerbacks. So I found it can boost it by 3. So that's why I kept this guy. And then I think there's some stuff here for just boosting the defensive line and the linebackers a bit here. So this is a bit of a bonus. So that's why I'm using these coordinators. I'll eventually boost them up. But I'm here for the long haul, so I'm not in a rush to do that. And for my players, I wanted to show how things have progressed. Milton's up to a 73, and I think I got him to a star developmental trait. You know, gone from bronze to silver. And some of the bonuses because his morale is up, but you can see his accuracy's up, throw under pressure's up. But a lot of that is just, what is it called? The morale boost that you get, because I think I actually got him to a 70 overall right now, and he's up 3 extra points because the morale, we got 10 games in a row. I think I got some points that I could spend, but I'm going to wait to spend them here because I'll move him to running back and upgrade his power running. Yep, look at that. My top 4 guys over an 80. Some of this is because of course, a morale boost. I haven't even really been using Zay Jones. Maybe I should, but I wanted to develop Mitchie and Dell here. And of course, Williams. It's kind of a comment in case anybody goes down. Tight ends kind of just need these people here. An extra offensive lineman, an extra fullback, running back. Johnson's developing well. I think he's actually in it at 80. I think because of the morale, people have been going up like a 3-point boost. Isaiah Adams been developing. Be actually above Brown in rating now. Deacon Jones is going up. I don't remember what he was at. Defensive side doesn't seem to be going up as much. Wow, his morale boost, he's up to an 81. That should be very beneficial. Collins up to an 80. A lot of this is not because they necessarily progressed, but because of morale boost. I haven't actually checked this in a while, so I don't know. Mitchell up to an 80, that's awesome. And Turner to a 77. This is not bad. So yeah, you can see I got, looks like a top 10 pick, and I was hoping Jacksonville would be a top 10 pick, but whatever. At least I'll have one. Maybe I'll use this one to trade back or trade for a player or something, and then I'll use this one and actually draft somebody. We'll just see how that goes. But I don't really have much after this, so that's another reason why I wanted to trade back. Use the draft picks to get more draft picks. But oh yeah, practice squad. I don't think I showed this. Not that it's really matters, but these my practice squad. A lot of times the top guy will get taken. I've had people get taken, and then the next week I see him on the free agent list, and I just put him back on the practice squad. Sometimes I think that practice squad thing, like the other teams being able to steal it, it's just kind of dumb. It seems like it's just a waste of time. Each week you have to go sign somebody, and then next thing you know, that guy that was signed from you is on free agency. Seems to happen more often than not. But anyway, that is that. That's where I'm at. And my first playoff game, I'll record it. You can see I just run very simple stuff, and you can critique that. Maybe learn something. I don't know. I don't know if anybody can learn from how I play. This is just more for my own entertainment. And so I can say this: get right with God while you can. The world is looking like it's, going to hell in a handbasket. Sometimes things look like you got some hope, but it's a false hope. You see, they're creating things in a way to get you to accept this false hope that they give you. Because there's a system that's being created right now where if you're not going to go along with it and you're not going to take, the mark, you probably all heard this, and you probably turned off the video already if you've gone this far, and they're going to enforce it. And if you're not going along with the system, you're not taking this mark, you don't want to worship the way they're telling you to worship and who they're telling you to worship, you're going to be cut off from society and eventually just put to death. So you need to get right with God now, because you got two options. You can get saved now by laying down 100% of your life down at the cross by faith and accept God's condemnation of you, that you can't save yourself and you're not worthy to be saved. You don't deserve heaven and you do deserve hell. And if you can accept that and just give it all up to God right now, God will give you 100% of what He has. So you give up your imperfect mortal life and stop trying to save yourself and just accept death through Jesus Christ. God's going to give you 100% of what He has, His perfect eternal life, in exchange for yours. So you get to live His life, and that's eternal security, my friend. That's once saved, always saved. Because in order for you to be lost once you're saved, God would have to be imperfect. God would have to be a sinner. God would have to be a liar. And that's not going to happen. So you're secure because your righteousness is God's righteousness by faith. And if you don't want to accept that, you're laughing now. You're like, I just watching for football. Okay, well, here's your next option. There's a time coming pretty quick here when the church is going to be taken and those left behind. You're going to have to run away from society. You're going to give up this life, as in not trying to go get your education and start a business and build up your money here so you can have a marriage and children and that nice house with the white picket fence and good investments to have a retirement. You're going to have to sacrifice all that and go live off grid, hidden away from society, and then suffer through what the world's going to go through trying to hide from it all. Or you're going to have to suffer and be a witness to the world and lay down your life before everybody, where you show you're not going to go along with the world, so that the world will end up putting you to death. Most likely by beheading. All this sounds like some crazy stuff. But I'm telling you before it happens, so when it happens, you'll be like, hey, that guy told me. How do you know that? Well, because we're told all about it, and if you're paying attention, you can see it all happening. The FEMA camps buying up all the guillotines. What do they need guillotines for? Are you chopping watermelons with those? What are you doing with the guillotines in a FEMA camp? What's up with all that stuff? Well, it's because they want to implement the no-hide law. And if you're not going to go along with it, they're going to put you to death. And this new system is going to be hiding behind the Jews, and it's going to try to get you to fight against the Jews, to do another Holocaust. And you need not to do that, and not to fight back. You need to follow the example of Jesus. You didn't want to accept Jesus' sacrifice for you, so you're going to have to face what he went through, and that's the persecution of the self-righteous Jews, at least their leadership. It's not all Jews, right? There's wheat and tares among the Jews, and the tares are taken over, and they're trying to enforce their way of life on you. And you need to submit to that the way Jesus did, where he did not defend himself in word or deed. He took the beating and humiliation and died. You need to die with that kind of faith in this time to come. And that's the only way you're going to save your soul. Which a lot of you, I imagine, you're going to have to go that way. It's kind of why I'm doing this channel. I know I don't have the greatest personality. I don't have the greatest football knowledge. I'm not even that good at Madden. But I like football, and I want to reach out. And I know some of you will end up coming to this, and you'll see this. I might talk about this stuff, doing some other games, just to try to reach people out there playing the games. That these videos are out there, and you'll stumble across this, and hopefully it'll help you. But with all that being said, thanks for watching. Take care.